Okay, look in the description for the timestamp of the stock you're trying to see. This is Asana. How much more pain do the longs have to take before they puke? The answer is, well, maybe you could get some kind of a move like that. I don't know. That's possible. Or you know what? Maybe that, and then some more pain is possible. So either way, if you're long this thing, maybe you look towards right here to get out of it. That is like maybe $47. It's not a whole lot higher than here. Maybe you get a chance to get out up here at like 50. Maybe call it 53-ish. But anyway you cut it, this stock is under some distribution here, big volume on the down move. It's in this channel. This is classic institutional selling. Anyway, if you're long this thing, I mean, you're stuck. I don't know how you get out of it then, other than, do you puke it out here? Probably not, but that's up to you. It's not in a good spot right here. Now, I mean, you should have been selling this stock when it broke right here, okay, down here. I mean, that was clearly, that was what, $60, a close below 60, and you're out of that thing. That's bad. So now you're $15 below that at 45. You're stuck in this thing, and it's not a good trade to be in right now. It's not a good trade to enter right here. If you get like a bounce, something like that, and then I don't know, another pullback down to that level, then maybe you could enter into 43, but that'll be somewhere around March or April time frame. So this looks like a lot of pain, long drawn out, slow grinding move. Maybe it's not. Maybe you get one last little puke down and then the whole big move back up. That's possible too. So, but that's something that you're going to have to assess when the time comes. And of course, if that is the case, you're going to want to place your stop right here around $40. Okay. Now moving on to CrowdStrike. This thing broke down 170 just now. I don't know. That's not a bad breakdown. Who knows? This one doesn't look as bad as some of the others, but still, your best shot if you're long right now, I don't know what you can possibly do. If you want to enter, look here, maybe you enter right around in this area, okay, this nice little tight area there. But of course, you're going to need a stop right here at 150. So that's a tough trade if you're entering here, because more than likely what's going to happen is the stock comes down here, stops you out, and then rips. I would give that a 90% probability of happening if you enter here at the 160. So you're going to lose $10 and then watch the stock rip up to 200. That's a guaranteed occurrence if you're buying right here with such a tight stop down there. So this one, you would have to play it kind of small if you want to enter here, and in which case, in my experience, small trades are just low conviction trades, and they're a lot of stress, and you don't stand to make that much money anyway. But it's not a good trade if you want to enter here, but you do have actually, that is probably what everyone else is looking at, including all the algorithms of short sellers who sold this move down here and are probably covering now. So look, not a great trade to enter right now. A terrible trade if you bought like in this area here, or heaven forbid, if you bought way up in this $250 area or above, and you've been riding this thing down $100. I mean, that's just an awful trade, which is again a great example of why when you're trading, we always use stops. If the price hits your stop, I mean, you're out, right? And then you avoid this move, okay? You have a stop, okay, if you buy, and then you avoid, this kind of a move. Who knows? I mean, this thing could be done. I have no idea. Or it could bounce pretty much right here, and then all of a sudden, it just does one of these with more QE. Who knows what could happen? So you wanna maybe be cautious if you work your way into this right now. Well, you certainly want to be cautious. And if you're stuck long this thing, maybe well, it's a lesson learned because you have no idea what to do now. If you're stuck long and you're feeling the pain, I don't know what's going to happen. You're probably just going to puke this thing out right at the very moment it's going to go up. So that's always what happens. That's how the markets work. Okay, next is Splunk. This thing looks terrible. That line, maybe more appropriately to terrify you if you're long this thing, is that line, because then you've got one of these, which you never, ever, ever want to see if you're long. I mean, that's just, you know what that is. I mean, so if you get any kind of a move into here, you know what comes next. Kaboom, right? I mean, that's just, I don't know, but there's no guarantee. I mean, first you got to get this little move down here, in order to have the potential for this kind of thing here. I mean, this is what SPLK Splunk. I mean, that's just, you never want to see that. You never want to see this banging down against a line here, this banging down right here. That's never good. What you want to see, look back here. See that line right there? You want to see this banging up on those lines. I mean, yeah, you want to see that. That's good. You want to see that move right there, banging up, and then you get some kind of like that. Okay, but this banging down, not good. Okay, banging down on these kind of lines, it's not good. You don't want to be long this thing right now. It's not a good trade. Hey, I have no idea. Maybe this thing can kaboom right up here with more QE. I don't know. It's possible that you get a straight one-way trip right back up to 200 if the Fed comes out and starts printing the money. I don't know. But as far as entering this trade right here, not a good setup. Okay, unpredictable. If you're trading, you want predictability. Okay, next is Shopify. This thing was doing a nice little move there, and obviously this right there is stopping out the long-term trend followers. But this is why it's tricky, because look back here, this move would have stopped out guys too, and you would have missed this whole thing up. So I mean, it's tricky. You want to be, but look, you could have gotten back in, right? When this thing, even if you got stopped out, the long-term trend follower guys, they would have gotten back in right there if they were really committed to their craft, okay? And so, you can do the same thing here. I mean, now if you bought this thing up here, I guess you're already down what, like 50% or something, which is, I don't know. So really, I mean, your stop was right there. If you missed that stop, I don't know what you can do here other than just be in pain. Maybe you can ride this thing back up to here. I don't know. Maybe you get that kind of move and you can ditch this trade. But then you're going to be upset if it, instead of doing something like that, it just kind of goes from down here and just kind of does that. You're going to be upset if you sell back in here. So it's a tough trade to be in, which is why you want to use stops, because now you set yourself up for another bad trade mentally. It's just not a good place to be in. But I mean, Shopify, they are one of the only profitable companies out there, so you could do worse if you want to pick a spot. I mean, listen, it's a decent risk, okay, right there after that big long tail. You got a big volume spike up there. Maybe that was the puke. And so maybe guys that are buying in this little area right in here, 800 or so, hey, maybe in a year's time they'll be happy. Maybe you get some kind of thing like that. I don't know. It could happen. But if you're already in this, I don't know, you're in a lot of pain and it's a bad trade. Could work out. Next is Upwork, UPWK. This thing is, well, it's at a level right here. I mean, that's for sure. Now, do you wanna buy this right here? Like, you could do worse. That's not that bad. But here's the problem. You got this gap. So, you buy right here. you're going to put your stop where? Like right there, right? But look what happens. This stock could, come down here, okay, to fill this little gap area right there from back in October of 2020. Okay, it comes down there, fills this gap, okay, and then just rips back up there. So a stop right below this level, it just looks like a bad trade. I mean, because the last thing you want to do is set your stop at 23-ish right there, and then the stock goes down to 20-ish or something, and so you maybe it's a tough trade. I mean, you can take $3 to make 10, but it's that is you got this area right here that is a lot of regret in this whole thing. I mean, all these guys that were buying in here, okay, and in here, and all the way in here. I mean, they just want their money back. I mean, look at all this volume. All these are trades. I mean, somebody was buying this stock, and then they just took this thing from 50 down to 20-ish. I don't know. That's a lot of regret. But hey, look, I mean, it did this kind of a move from what 20-ish down to 6. I mean, okay, 5. And so yeah, that might be what this thing takes is another just kind of complete puke before it can kind of find some buyers to go back up. I don't know. That stuff happens from time to time. It is that is a tough trade. I don't want to be in that trade right now. It's not suited for me, not at all. If this thing floats your boat, then I'm not going to tell anyone what to buy or what to sell. I mean, I'm not the stock market police. Everyone can do what they want, but this thing ain't for me. And now we look at Upstart, UPST, and this thing is, that's at a level. It sure is. And I mean, you do have some identifiable risk at this long tail right here. Large volume. I mean, maybe that's a puke. It could be. Doesn't look like it to me. But hey, you never know on these things because this is a pretty tight little channel, and those are not going to be so difficult to kind of break out of, okay? And maybe you get one of these, a back down maneuver, and then something like that. So this halfway, no, it's not decent. I mean, this is just not a trade that I want to be in either. This thing is just a bad trade. But again, if this is your thing, go for it. I mean, why not? But always just remember, set your stop, okay? If the price goes in here, get out, and if it comes back in, and does one of these, I mean, you can always get back in, you know. And next we've got Affirm Holdings here. That thing's it's at a level. So, if you've been holding this thing since 160-ish, 150, and you've been riding this thing right down, I, yeah, you want out right now, I'm sure. If you haven't sold already, I'm sure, you know, you'll be thinking about it this whole week and month. And certainly if you get one of these grindy kind of a things, if you get a grindy kind of a thing, you'll for sure sell in there. And then only to watch the thing, kaboom, you'll sell in there. And then obviously you'll get one of those moves. So it's just not a thing you want to be in. That's why, again, if you were buying up in here, I mean, where was your stop? Okay. Looks to me it would have been right there. Okay. So you got stopped out on this candle right here and you lost a little bit of money, but then you avoided this whole move down, big move. Okay. If you were buying in here, I mean, maybe you wanted to buy a bounce off this yellow line. Well, where was your stop here? It was obviously, I mean, it would have been there. You would have gotten stopped out on this candle right there, okay? That boom, you're stopped out, and you miss. That was at 90. I mean, it's at 50 now. So I don't know. This is a tough trade. Not my thing, but if you're looking at this video, you're looking for this stock, and if you're looking for this stock, there's a 50% chance you already own it, and a 50% chance that you're looking to buy it right now. And it is not a trade I want to be in, not at all. And lastly, we're going to take a look at the SoFi here. You got that breakdown. Everyone can see that, but do you want to puke it out right here at $11.36? I don't know. You got some kind of a little crazy widening range here where you're getting, the move down and then like chopping up and then chopping back down and then what, chopping back up and then back down. I mean, this is just maybe you can hope for a chop up. I don't know. And then maybe this is where you can try and get out closer to 14, but that may not happen. And is it really worth the $3? I don't know. That you would get by holding out. It depends on your position size, right? If you're mega huge into this thing, then yeah, that $3 it could mean a lot. But if it's just a small position, I don't know. I don't know. It's bad trading. If you're in this thing, you've made a bad trade, and how do you get out? It's compounding error, right? Trying to get out of a bad trade is a skill, and I mean, it's the easiest way is just not to get into a bad trade. I mean, use your stops and get out when this thing, I mean, this was your out level right here at 14. You should have been out anytime the stock crossed here, if you were even in this to begin with, which probably I wouldn't have been because look, there's nothing in here that's a great setup. That's not a good setup. Nothing in here is a good setup. The last good setup you had was like, I mean, this one right here. That was back in November. That wasn't that long ago. And you only got this move out of it. That's a $4 move. That's nothing. So I don't even say that maybe the last good setup was really this one right here. And who's still in this stock from back there? I mean, you really got to be a true believer in whatever this stock does. I have no idea what this stock even does. I think it's associated with that truck company, Ren or something maybe. I don't know. It's got some association with some kind of EV Chinese something or other. I don't know. Too complex for me, not my trade. Maybe this was a setup, but you want to see some kind of a setup like this, okay, where you get this down angle and then a pop out, okay? You want a down angle and then a pop out. I mean, that's your setup. Here, you know, you don't have that, so it's not a good setup. Okay, even here, look back here. You want that little, see that little down angle, and then you had this pop out. Okay, and you can at least get that move, and then you wait for that to peter out and set your stop. So you at least get this whole kind of a move right in here. I mean, you get that move. Okay, but here, I don't know what you're gonna do if you're long this, and I'm certainly not getting into this trade. You know, look at all this volume here. There's a lot of sellers. Maybe you could wait until there's a huge volume spike up and then look to get into that, but I won't be going with you. This is not my kind of thing. But hey, if it is your thing, absolutely, by all means, take your shot, pick your stop, and go for it. That's kind of the theme of everything in this tech sector. All right, just if you want to go for it, I'm not going to tell you it's a bad idea. I have no idea, but make sure you set your stop and you got a plan to get out so you don't end up taking a huge hit.